Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a sunny Meadow Park, Boreham Wood, for this Women's Super League game between champions-elect Arsenal and lowly Everton. It is crunch time in the Women's Super League, and here is what the table looks like. The top two, Arsenal will play their game in hand this afternoon. 3 games left for the Gunners. 2 wins out of 3 will do for them to reclaim the title, which they last won in 2012. Manchester City have the weekend off. I'm sure they'll be watching this one with interest. So here are the remaining Women's Super League fixtures this afternoon. Arsenal hosting Everton, away at Brighton. They could have the title wrapped up before they host Manchester City on the final day of the season. And a very cool-looking Joe Montemurro, the Australian, might feel a bit more at home in this weather. And perhaps the coolest striker in the Women's Super League, Vivian Miedema, along with her Dutch teammate Danielle van der Donk. Arsenal will be heavy favourites for this one, given their relative positions in the table. There is Willie Kirk, the Everton manager, came in December and has got them 2 wins, but still struggling towards the bottom end of the table, but no threat of relegation because of Yeovil's circumstances. So a bit of a free hit, this one, for Everton. So kick-off in 8 minutes' time at Boreham Wood. And the form guide tells the story, really. 1 win in their 5 games for Everton. That was against West Ham. Arsenal, all the W's, but they did struggle a little bit in their last game against Birmingham. Had to wait late on to get that final goal, which was scored by Katie McCabe. So it's good a time to introduce our co-commentator this afternoon, former Arsenal stalwart Jane Ludlow. You wanted to pick Katie McCabe out for Arsenal this afternoon.
Great young talent, obviously. Lots of national team caps under her belt already. I believe she's early 20s, 23, 24 years of age, and doing very well for both teams this year, the Republic of Ireland and obviously for our club team. You know, she's been in the team pretty much every game this season and is one of their best competitors.
And one of your own for the Everton side, who's making her 100th WSL appearance today.
Yeah, really pleased for Haz, obviously, and Harrod James. As you said, you know, good number of appearances under her belt for the club. And again, 23, 24 years of age and numerous international caps already.
Well, let's hear from both camps ahead of kick-off here between Arsenal and Everton. Let's hear from Willie Kirk, but first, Joe Montemurro has been speaking with Anita Necker-Jones.
A win today and you're 1 step closer to becoming the champions of the WSL. What have you said to the players to try and get the bigger picture out of their mind today?
Look, I'm going to use cliches. We're just focusing on a task at hand against a very good Everton team that's probably underestimated their league position on the table. We're expecting a very tough game, and we need to be prepared for it. So we've just focused on this game and focused on the preparation of this game.
Arsenal are known for their firepower going forward. They've got the likes of Vivian Miedema, van der Donk and Mead. How are you going to try and stop them?
Yeah, there's a lot of threats. You know, I think if you have all your focus on 1 or 2 of them, they've got another 2 or 3 that can cause you problems. So, you know, we're looking at it as a collective. We've done good work in the last couple of days since the Birmingham game, and yeah, hopefully we've put a plan in place that will not only stop Arsenal, but allow us to cause them problems going forward as well.
Looking at the Arsenal players, Miedema is her 2nd season here and she's been nominated for Women's PFA Player of the Year as well as Young Player of the Year amongst some other incredible players from the WSL. How crucial and impressive has she been this season to the Arsenal side?
Well, I think the footage in the games and what people have seen on the park is pretty much a testament to how important she is to us. And look, she's a smart player and a fantastic professional and great person to work with, and she's great amongst the group and great for the team. So yeah, she's an important cog to our wheel.
Great. Well, thank you and good luck today, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Joe Montemurro and Willie Kirk there giving their pre-match thoughts ahead of this game between Arsenal and Everton, and we'll have more on the nominations for the PFA Young Player of the Year and Senior Player of the Year at half-time. We'll go pitch-side with Ailey Barber and our special guest Farrah Williams, former Arsenal midfielder, today. But I think it's interesting what he said about Vivianne Miedema there, Jane Ludlow. Clearly her talents and her clinical nature this season has been key to Arsenal. But I was reading a lot on social media this week about some people who follow Arsenal closely, and they say actually it's been very much a team effort.
Oh, I totally agree. If you think back to the beginning of the season, the form that Jordan Nobbs was in, Kim Little, obviously Jordan was out and is still out for a longer period of time. Kim Little's back, Van der Donk scoring so many goals, breaking up opposition play. I mean, you can name the whole team at different times, and, you know, different games have meant different top quality players standing out.
And the other point that was made was that they've almost, although Miedema's been the consistent goal scorer, they've almost taken it in turns to score the goals. There was a prolific period for Kim Little. She's now playing more in the withdrawn role. Van der Donk went through a hot streak, and now it looks like it's Beth Mead who's coming to the fore late on in the season for Arsenal and England.
She's in a fantastic vein of form at the moment when you look at the national team. And I mean, I remember watching a game a couple of months back, and for me, she's all about deliveries to support others, to create chances for others. And if there's an award for delivery of the year, she's winning it for me. So many great deliveries to create chances for her front line.
And in terms of Everton, it's been a very difficult season for them. Willie Kirk came in midway through, left Manchester United as the assistant to come in. He wanted to be the number one again after Andy Spence left the club. He's managed 2 wins, and that's the only 2 wins they've got this season. They've both come under Willie Kirk. It's just been very tough for them, hasn't it?
It has been tough, and you know, I see this as a really important game for Everton and their players today, because obviously recently involved manager is going to want his own squad, you know. So when we're starting next season, he's going to be looking at these players and focusing a lot on, are they the ones he wants to challenge next season, because he doesn't want to be at the foot of the table next year, so he's going to have to make some changes.
Well, Yeovil, as we mentioned, have their relegation confirmed because of their points deduction as well as too many defeats. But had they not got that points deduction, they would just be 2 points behind Everton. So that's something, it's a bit of a reality check, really, isn't it, that they've got to improve next season. It
was always going to be challenging for Willie Kirk coming in, you know, midway through the season. Obviously, not a great vein of form for the players involved when he came in. And to change that around is always going to be a really tough challenge. As you've mentioned, they've won 2 games under him already, but knowing his experience in the game and his involvement with different teams, I'm sure he'll want and expect a lot more in the next few months from his players.
Not a bad day to be on the bench, is it? You can work on your tan a bit.
It's definitely a sun cream day.
And finally, Arsenal have a bit more strength in depth as well on the substitutes bench. You can see Victoria Schneiderbeck, Tabia Kemmer, who barely played this season. Emma Mitchell also back from injury. She's been out with an ankle knock for quite some time. So here come the 2 teams led by the referee Stacey Pearson. Arsenal already have Champions League football to look forward to next season. Now they are just 2 wins away from claiming the Women's Super League title for the first time since 2012. A home banker on paper against this Everton side with only 2 wins to their name this season, but with the pressure off, could Willie Kirk's side spring a surprise? Well, Arsenal's last fixture was 3 weeks ago, although most of the squad have been away on international duty. Just the one change to the side that edged past Birmingham. It comes in goal. Sari van Veenendaal replaces Pauline Perrault-Manning, who was injured playing for France. Otherwise, it's the usual front 4 with McCabe, Van der Donk, Mead and Miedema all scoring for their countries over the break. Everton played on Wednesday night, taking the lead but ultimately losing at Birmingham. It's a change of system with just one change in personnel. Hannah Kane comes in for Emma Brownlee. Angharad James, an ever-present for Everton since signing at the beginning of last season, makes her 100th WSL appearance this afternoon. Taylor Hines, who spent 8 years at Arsenal, is also in the starting 11. Well, Willie Kirk has flipped between a back three, which he played on Wednesday night. Now it's a back four. As you mentioned, Jane, new manager, still trying to work out the best system and his best side.
He'll be going through a process right now of giving those players game time to ensure he's judging them correctly. And yeah, maybe he doesn't know his best system, or actually, more likely, he's looking at the opponents and thinking, right, how does he stop the attacks? How does he stop that Arsenal front line, and what's the best way to do it? And this is what he's going to go with today.
Can you see why he's changed from the back three to the back four against this Arsenal side?
But, to be honest, it could be back 6 or 7.
It might well be.
It may end up being, you know, 2 backs of 5, because look, they are going to have to protect the space in their own half particularly well today. That's the reality for the Everton team. But it'll be interesting to see if he has any surprises up his belt. You know, if they are going to drop off and defend deep, how are they going to try and create? Is it going to be a counter-attack in ethos? Or does he have something else planned, you know? Because in history, if you look at the teams that he would put out for Bristol, it was about build-up play, it was about, again, possession of the ball and focusing on that.
Joe Montemuro getting ready, getting the protein in. Big game for Arsenal this. As we mentioned, 3 games to go, just 6 points required, and they will definitely want this wrapped up before they face Manchester City at home on the final day of the season.
Well, look, from a club perspective, it's great that they're obviously in Champions League. They haven't been there for quite a few years, and for me, this, you know, the size of the club, the stature of the club, the history of the club, they need to be competing at that level. So that's a real positive looking at next season. But they'll want one more, obviously, and they'll want this title.
And we should mention, coming up on the red button later on, we have commentary and the full game of Chelsea's first leg, I should say, of their Champions League game. They're in Lyon, and well, couldn't really get a bigger test than that.
I'm excited. You know, we've got 2 Welsh national team players involved in that, obviously, so I can't pick a team. But yeah, it's just great for us as a nation to have 2 top-level players playing in a semi-final of that competition is huge for us, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game. Well, both games, I'm sure, will be really competitive.
Both playing in sort of similar positions, although Sophie...
Yeah, because look, national team-wise, I move Sophie a lot, and you know, she's a stalwart of our defence, whereas Jess stays a bit further up and is a bit more involved in our attacking game. But Sophie can do both.
Jane Ludlow firmly on the fence for that one. We'll have to see. I think Emma Hayes gave a sort of Marcelo Bielsa tactical breakdown for the British press before they flew off to Lyon, their pre-match press conference, and I understand that it was absolutely fascinating. So we'll see if her team can execute it. Right now, though, all eyes on the Women's Super League title. Arsenal 2 wins away from claiming the title, which they won back in 2012 and has eluded them ever since. It's been a long time for this great women's football club, but I'm sure Everton won't make it easy.
Well, what we're seeing so far is obviously that lower block from Everton protecting space in their own half, looking like a 4-1-4-1, maybe 4-5-1 organisation right now.
Lisa Evans has nailed down that right back position for Arsenal. It'll be interesting to see where she lines up for Scotland. I think she usually does play a bit further forward for a national side.
And we've seen for Arsenal, you know, she can do a good job further up. She's involved in attacks a lot, even when she is playing as a fullback. You know, there's a big emphasis on their fullbacks getting forwards and becoming more like wingers in the final third.
And as we mentioned in the build-up, Arsenal did manage to get past Birmingham eventually with a terrific strike from Katie McCabe, but they did find that pretty difficult. They haven't played as a club since then. That was 3 weeks ago, so from their point of view, they might feel they're a bit more rested. But it's going to be probably another slog for them this afternoon, unless they can get this early goal.
Yeah, there's pressure on them now, but, you know, hopefully the players themselves don't feel that. They're just going to go out and compete to the best of their ability today.
It's a good ball from Cargman, and Kane wins the first corner of the game.
Hannah Kane's a player I've known for quite a few years. She was involved in our under 15 setup many years ago, but has obviously then gone on to do some great things with the English youth sides, the 17s and 19s. So it's nice to see her playing at the top level.
Signed in the summer from Sheffield. Hannah Kane's had her injury issues, but trying to stake her claim in the Everton side. James whips in the cross, and Louise Quinn got her head to the ball. It was Boyd Lorca who was lurking, just in case Quinn didn't win that header. Very good delivery.
Great delivery, far post. Obviously, that's the ploy right now, but unfortunately for them, couldn't contact.
Turner under pressure from Van der Donk. Scored 4 goals during the international break for the Netherlands against Chile. The Dutch squad are the first to name their World Cup squad. And you're looking at a whole lot of them in this Arsenal side, and one in the Everton side, the number 8, Inessa Kargman. A couple of other games going on later on today in the Women's Super League. Liverpool against Bristol City, 2 o'clock kickoff, and then West Ham against Birmingham at 3. Reading managed a narrow win against Brighton 1-0 yesterday. Here is Van der Donk. She's got McCabe alongside her. Van der Donk settling for the corner. There is Taylor Hines, who just poked it out of play, former Arsenal youth graduate, who along with Chloe Kelly made the move from Arsenal to Everton, and she's been a big loss actually for Everton. Had to have ankle surgery, is out for the rest of the season. Here comes the corner kick, oh, and it's in! Not sure who got the final touch, Arsenal won't care. They hit the front inside the first 5 minutes, the perfect start for the champions-elect. 1-0 they lead.
I think it may be an own goal from Stringer, unfortunately for Everton. Not a great start to the game for them, but their organisation is kind of a semi-zonal. They've got zonal players there ready to attack the ball, and that was a man-marking error. She's gone and tried to deal with Quinn as the ball's coming over. And unfortunately, looks like she slipped at the last moment, and it's come off. It might have come off her knee.
Well, the announcer over the tannoy has given it to Louise Quinn. I think that was a bit of a hopeful one. I think it's going to go down as a Avi Lee Stringer own goal. And
yeah, look, it's always going to be difficult for the player, whichever team is playing against Arsenal, the player that is given the job of man marking Louise Quinn is always going to be a difficult one, because she's a big girl, she's a powerful girl, and it's how you choose to deal with her. Do you body check her? Do you try and stop the run, or do you run with her? And that example there, you run with her, but you could end up falling over your own feet, unfortunately.
Once again, as you picked out in the build-up, Jane, good delivery from Beth Mead, something that she's got better and better at.
Yeah, I think she's been a massive part of the success Arsenal have had, or the relative success already this season. And hopefully she'll do the same for the national team now if selected in the next couple of months.
Arsenal with their tails up now. Lisa Evans challenged by Hannah Kane. A robust one from Kane.
Well, the Everton wide players are going to have a massive defensive job to do today, and we will see them backing up their fullbacks a lot, I'd imagine.
Miedemar. Mead with the pullback. Kim Little couldn't quite keep her feet. It was slightly behind her as well. The gap's opening up already in the Everton back line.
It's a difficult start for Everton, 5 minutes into the game and being 1-0 down now, because it was always going to be a difficult challenge anyway, coming down to Boreham Wood to play the team who are, you know, fighting hard to win the championship. But now they've just made it even more of a challenge. But, you know, if you are the boss on the side of the pitch, now you're looking and going, well, I'm going to see which players have character, because hopefully they won't crumble. They have a lot of the game time left to play, and they have to fight.
We should mention they're missing a couple of if not senior in age, senior in terms of appearances of their players in the back line. Everton injuries to Georgia Broham and Gabby George, who've racked up a lot of appearances despite their tender age. George, of course, a full England international as well. And she's missed the last 2 games now with injuries, having not missed a minute before that. She's a really commanding presence, isn't she, Gabby George?
Yeah, and look, if you're struggling at the bottom of the table, the last thing you want is some key players being injured.
Here's McCabe. Manages to get the pull back, but easily cleared by Vaughan. Weren't quick enough to join in. That's nice play from Boyd Lorca. McGill's ball in, that's a decent one. Well read by Van Veenendaal.
It's actually not the game I was expecting for the first 7 minutes. It's not as if Everton are dropping into the defensive third and just letting Arsenal have the ball. As you see now, they're holding a fairly high line, even though they're not that active in it. It's kind of a hard, it's not really a full-out press when they go in, which may end up causing them problems because they're actually going out towards balls to try and press, and then they're opening up spaces behind them. So it'll be interesting if they stick with this ploy or whether they do end up dropping deeper as the game goes on.
Oh, untimely slip from Kim Little. Here is Kane. Just misjudged the pass. I think she was trying to find McGill. And in the reverse fixture, it took Arsenal a long time to try and break down Everton. Not so at home at Boreham Wood, which has been quite the fortress, especially since Joe Montemuro took over.
So since the goal, it's been about Arsenal just retaining possession. Moving the ball fairly slowly in possession right now.
McGill. First time cross from Boyd Lorca. It's into someone's front garden. Willie Kirk will be pretty disappointed with the way they conceded that opening goal, but not a bad response since going behind.
No, they are managing to get some ball time. Generally, in these areas, they're ending up Arsenal making mistakes when they're trying to build.
Little. Udemar dispossessed. Comes Kane. Boyd Lorca came through the Everton centre of excellence. Quinn's header away.
It feels like the game hasn't really come to life yet, if I'm honest. The tempo for both teams, because even now Arsenal, okay, they haven't got to go and chase the game, but Arsenal of 2 or 3 months ago would be pressing these passes. They would be going and pinching and forcing play and pinching and creating counter-attack opportunities, and they're happy to sit off. And again, it's 1-0, so it's important that they win the game, and I'm sure there's a game plan from Joe Montemuro to ensure that happens.
Obviously, they are full-time professionals, but the weather may be playing a part in that. Here's McCabe. Well, had the confidence to take that. She wants a corner kick.
She's one heck of a competitor. That's what makes her, a great player for club and country right now. She wants to win everything, and she will be contesting and asking for anything and everything throughout this 90 minutes.
Felt that Taylor Hines maybe got her foot in. Her protest didn't prove fruitful. She scored the international break for the Republic of Ireland in a 2-1 defeat to Italy. Meads cross. I know you said if selected, Jane. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think she's on the plane. She must
I agree.
be.
I'd be really surprised if she's not selected for the World Cup squad. hopefully she'll stay fit and healthy so that happens.
That's the thing. Every England fan and Scotland fan, of course, holding their breath every time they get a knock.
It's an interesting one now this time of year, because if you're a player, you want to be playing, you want to feel sharp going into a tournament like that. But obviously, coaches may feel differently. They want them to be protected to ensure that they do step on the plane.
Well, Phil Neville did actually say he hates the April friendlies because most of the players, like Chelsea especially, who are still competing in the FA Cup and the Champions League, he had to be very careful. He had to speak with Emma Hayes and the other club managers, which I'm sure you have to do as well, Jane. Here is Katie McCabe. What a great ball to Miedemar. That relationship between the manager of the country and the respective clubs is very important, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been some interesting decisions from an English perspective over the last few months. Lots of the players being rested and left with clubs, which is, you know, great from a club perspective. And at the end of the day, what you'd hope is the national team manager and the club are making the right decision for the player concerned, and I'm sure that's why those decisions have been made, to ensure that they are fit and healthy when the national team need them.
Evans. Closing down by Danielle Turner.
Well, the Everton midfield have one heck of a job today. You know, Willie Kirk's gone with kind of matching them up against the Arsenal midfield three. We look today, we see Bloodworth playing a little bit deeper, and Kim Little and Van der Donk as the two higher kind of 10 roles.
It's well defended, but here's Kim Little. A good deflection into the arms of Kirsty Lavelle.
So James, Stringer and Cagman have a job to do defensively, and have to make sure they're not opening up spaces too easily for that central group of three for Arsenal.
It's good strength by James.
Yeah, one of James's strength is obviously, for us as a national team, she's a pincher in midfield. She breaks up opposition play very well. She reads the game well. She's very strong in a tackle as well, and obviously good examples that we've seen in the game so far from her.
Had a good career in the WSL, her 100th appearance today, former Bristol City and Yeovil as well.
If I'm honest, I forget how young she still is, because she seems to have been around the national team setup for so many years. I forget she's still early 20s.
Everton generally have a pretty young side, actually, and she's actually possibly one of the older ones when you look at. Also, you've got another Welsh international on the bench today, Elise Hughes.
Yes, another youngster who's doing particularly well for us. Had a great campaign recently, in a sense of stepping on starting pitches for national senior team, and obviously she's a under-19s national team player with us too. She's just in the centre there. She's the larger of the three. Very strong young player, so you know, physically gives anyone a challenge on a day.
And only turned 18 on Monday, Elise Hughes, so
Again,
long career ahead of
I
her.
forget how young she is at times, yes. No, it's great for us as a small nation to have some top quality young players coming through.
Chance here for Everton. From the corner kick. Vorm. It's another good one right on top of the goalkeeper. Van Veenendaal did well. Under pressure, there's an Everton player down, actually. I think she's going to be okay. I think it's Boy Lorca. He was man-marking Van Veenendaal. You're absolutely right, Jane. Arsenal, at the beginning of the season, they wouldn't allow James to turn like that in midfield, to be on her.
They're allowing Everton time to play in the middle third of the pitch, which is quite unusual, but it could be that it's set that way so that when they do then pinch, they can counter-attack really effectively, because there's half a pitch to go into. So that could actually be the ploy from an Arsenal perspective today, especially now that they're 1-0 up, protect. Make sure that Everton don't get easy opportunities and space to play in their own half, and then try and break into the space available in Everton's half as quickly as they can.
Do you think it is possibly a tactic then, rather than a bit of fatigue, having played so dynamically throughout most of the season?
Well, it is a change, if I'm honest. This is quite a big change, but it may be that the manager's looking at his players. He's aware of certain issues, maybe physically, that he is reining them in slightly. Or it is just purely tactical, and he thinks it's the best way to try and break the Everton defensive line down. Maybe he thinks he can utilise the space really effectively if there's more space to use quickly, which means the Everton backline have to step up to be able to do that.
Okay, trying to find Bloodworth.
Or maybe there's just 26 degrees outside, which is really unusual too.
Yeah, I think the only person in that stadium who'd be used to that is Joe Montemuro, the Australian.
So this is unusual. We've got a good press or force to play from Beth Mead, and then we haven't got Miedema backing her up, or Van der Donk, so that Everton are allowed to come back to the centre-back and then try and build again. So that is really different. Usually when Arsenal make that decision, whichever player is nearest the ball, and they make that decision to go and press or force play, the team reacts, and then you see them as a group going after to try and pinch the ball back. So that's definitely different today, so far.
A heavy touch by McKay, but likewise for Cargman. Via, Danish international. A bit of a surprise that they won't be at the World Cup, having been runners-up at the Euros. Denmark, so not the likes of Pernilla Harder as well. Won't be seeing her.
Yeah, top quality team, and yes, a bit unusual that they're not in the tournament. You know, for us, for the likes of us as small nations, I do hope that they open up the competitions even more so in the next few years and invite more teams there, because you know, not just for us, but the likes of the team you just mentioned aren't in a finals tournament, and they definitely deserve to be there. But mind you say that obviously they didn't manage to qualify.
It's a good ball from Little to Miedema. Unselfishly tries to tee up a teammate, but good tracking by Abby Lee Stringer. Williamson defended well by Suri Vaughan.
Definitely feels like everybody's working about 50% right now. I'm sure both teams can up the tempo of this game. In and out of possession, I think when they're in possession, both teams, they can look to get the ball moving a little bit quicker, but to be able to do that, they have to have movement around them to ensure they have pass options.
Van der Donk. She wants the corner. She can't believe it. It's given us a goal kick after all her hard work.
It did seem like Stringer did actually poke the ball out there. Again, she's another feisty, competitive player in the midfield for Arsenal.
Deceptively, I'd say, because she's diminutive in size, but yeah, not afraid of a challenge.
Yeah, having watched so many of the games this season, she likes a battle and she's very good at it. You know, she is everybody will focus on her in possession game, but out of possession she works extremely hard for the team and again pinches and breaks up opposition play.
It's well done by McGill. Well, Boyle-Orca, very quick, and Via does just enough. What a turn of pace by Chantal Boyle-Orca, nearly put the Arsenal defence in trouble there.
For a moment there, I actually thought she was in. I thought she was going inside and about to get a shot off. She changed pace, yeah, and she definitely had the legs on her if that ball was going a little bit further away.
Forces the corner kick. On a few instructions from her teammates.
Well, so far we've seen them kind of target the goalkeeper and get some in-swingers in there, whether it's more towards the far post or central of the goal. See if they do the same. Yeah.
Vaughan towards Finnegan. Another corner kick. They have looked dangerous from these situations, Everton, having conceded from a corner themselves. James's delivery, it's deep once again. On by Hines. strength by Finnegan. The third corner kick in succession.
It's a good variation of delivery right now, but what's not quite right is timing of movement. So a lot of the Everton girls, as ball is coming over, they're actually standing and jumping, so there's no momentum taking them into the ball. So for them right now, they're not really getting the contact they want.
And they seem to be going with the in-swingers, no matter which side it is. The left foot now of Siri Vorm. It's another deep one, too deep this time.
Oh, opportunities that have run away from them there. That's a poor delivery, the last one. Obviously, the ploy is to try and hit a little bit further towards the back post, but way over hit.
Well, there's speculation about where Van Veenendaal will be next season. I think her contract's up, and I'm not sure if she'll be kept on. She's only played one WSL game since the turn of the year. This is her second, and pretty much because of an injury to Perry Manning. Although she has been selected for the Dutch squad, a Euro 2017 winner. Here is Via.
Great movement from Beth Mead then and off the line, because she actually took the fullback way out of the space, which then opened up for obviously Arsenal's fullback Via. There's a lot of space on the pitch right now in central areas for both teams to use. So midfield for both teams are going to do a lot of legwork today by the look of it, if those spaces keep opening up. So defensively it's going to be quite tough for them to be preventing build-up play in those areas.
Not ideal in
Not
this
ideal
weather.
in this weather, no. If you're a centre mid having to do that legwork, no. See, that it's too easy for me. That's way too easy for Bloodworth to just pop into central areas and be able to turn and pick out a pass.
Turner helps it out of play. Good touch by Boy Walker.
So it's the second or third time now we've seen Everton, as soon as they pinch, they try and get it out to a flank really quickly, and generally switching, looking for that far side winger who's going to hold slightly higher, it seems, in the game. So that's their potential counter-attack ploy.
You can see they've got plenty of pace, haven't they? Hannah Kane
Yeah,
showing
and
that
young
as well.
players, full of energy too.
Mead, touch past Hines, was beautifully executed, challenged well.
I haven't criticised her very much throughout the whole season, but I will on that last one. I think she made the wrong decision there, because I think she could have popped it off just inside to Miedema, who was waiting for a one-touch strike, I think.
Few boot issues.
Well, what we saw in the Reading-Brighton game yesterday was a couple of water breaks. Interesting to see if that happens today, because I'm sure it's about the same temperature.
Miedema. Marshalled well by James. Well, the record for Arsenal is brilliant, but her record for her country is quite ridiculous. Scored her 57th senior international goal over the break. Here's Mead, stumbles.
Ooh, Everton players saying she's diving there, and I think asking for a card. Interesting to see that one back. Oh, you can see her foot did get tangled up with the defender. Was it on purpose? Probably not, but I'm sure Beth Mead's not to know that. She's felt contact, so she's gone down.
Not a dive either, perhaps
No,
not a penalty.
no. It's an interesting play from Everton, this. They are chasing a lot in the opposition half, but I would say chasing rather than pressing right now, because they're not affecting a forward pass. They're still allowing the forward pass or a wider pass.
It's a nice ball by Stringer. McGill just turns into traffic in the form of Bloodworth. Little. Characteristically careless pass, but here's Van der Donk. McCabe making the run very intelligently, and, well, I think it was possibly 6 of 1. Good strength by Turner.
Great recovery tackle there from Turner, and the right time to make it, because I think if she'd allowed McCabe another step or two, that was an opportunity on goal. That was a strike for McCabe. Good physicality from both of them.
I was going to say, it's a really good battle between those two. Here's Mead. Miedemar! Oh, what a cheeky finish from Vivian Miedemar. On one of the hottest days of the year, cool as you like inside the penalty area. And she scores her 30th goal in all competitions this season to give Arsenal a 2-goal advantage.
Wouldn't you just love to have that ability, that calmness in these situations? Most people would just swing a leg at it. You're so close to the goal. And look, it's the quality of a top-level striker. You know, gone around a couple of players and then just dinked it up over the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper stayed up for quite a while, and then obviously she's gone dive to her left. And Miedemar's just seen that and just dinked it over her. A great finish if you're an Arsenal fan. You know, disappointing from an Everton point of view. The defenders who had an opportunity to pinch that ball in their box.
Look at that. She's just, yeah, so...
It's too easy.
I cannot tell you if I'd been in that position, that ball would have been anywhere but in the goal. I would have just panicked. I just can't... That so casual, Miedemar, unbelievable.
Yeah, look, she has a calmness in front of goal, which means, you know, she is one of the best strikers in the world right now.
So goal number 30 in all competitions, 21 in the WSL. So that moves her 3 goals ahead of Nikita Paris, who is right on her tail in the race for the Golden Boot. But Man City have only got 2 games left, although with respect, they do have Yeovil next, so she might be able to fill her boots. Although Yeovil actually have put in some very good performances of late.
Well, pressure's off in a way. You know, they're going to go through a rebuilding process, I'd imagine. Whether they can keep many of the players is yet to be seen. But they have a challenge on their hands for next season.
They've improved massively since last season, actually, since they've gone full-time. Obviously they keep shipping goals, but they haven't had as many really big margins of defeat as they had last season.
It was always going to be tough for the club, you know, staying in the WSL one for another year. I think financially, you know, they're not at the same level as many of the other WSL one clubs. It was always going to be difficult for them to bring in top-level quality players. But they have given opportunities to younger players.
Beth Mead's in here. Miedemar is pointing where she wants it. Mead still got it, and it's a good cross. Miedemar not quite up with it.
Well, Arsenal here again, just getting into that attacking third, the defensive third for Everton too easily. Spaces are opening up, and what Everton obviously want to try and prevent is players like Mead and Miedemar getting time on the ball in those areas.
So past the half-hour mark, and it's not been a particularly energetic game. Slow pace, which is perhaps understandable. Arsenal not really having to get out of first gear, have a pretty comfortable lead.
McGill and Cagman are actually working really hard to try and affect the Arsenal centre-backs in possession. But what they're not quite doing as a team is when that force happens, they're not then pinching the next pass because they're not quite close enough in the unit behind.
It's brilliant play by Mead. Here's Via. Van der Donk. Little. And the flag's gone up against Kim Little.
Well, the Everton backline stopped and stood still then, so obviously maybe it was an obvious offside, and that's the reason why.
Good support once again at Boreham Wood. Not a bad way to spend a bank holiday.
And a sunny one at that.
On a bank holiday, it's almost unheard of. It's Boy Lorca showing her pace once again. That's a decent effort, and Van Veenendaal with a smart save.
Well, the out for Everton is definitely their number 7's pace today, because she is causing them a problem when she's in and around the Arsenal backline.
She did well to dig out the shot there. Didn't really have much space to do so.
The shot looked more comfortable for the goalkeeper than it actually ended up being, whether she misjudged it or just lost her foot in slightly. It did originally seem like it would be an easy claim for her.
Maybe she knows the cameras are there today. Finnegan. Good spell this for Everton. Stringer. She's just gone out.
Yeah, poor ending to that small display of possession there for Everton.
Oh, this is concerning. They might take this opportunity to have the drinks break. Didn't really see anything that went on there.
No, whether it's something that she's already gone into the game with and is gradually getting worse, but no, we haven't seen any contact situations with her that would potentially cause an injury. I'm sure the players are appreciative of the break right now because it does look extremely hot out there on the grass today.
I was in deep conversation with the Arsenal physio. Looks like she'll be okay.
She does generally have that casual look about it, doesn't she? It kind of sums up the goal that she scored
Absolutely.
a few minutes back.
She's got a sort of Ozil type quality, and he gets heavily criticised, doesn't he? Because he sort of floats around and then does something incredible. And
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should compare the two.
No.
Because one has a very different... I guess Arsenal fans at the moment probably have a completely different reaction to the one compared to the other.
That's true.
Fair.
But I do think Miedema, you can not see her for 10 minutes, then suddenly she does something absolutely magical.
I'm sure the opponents, the opposition backlines see her at all times.
Yes.
But yes, you're right. When you're watching a game, she does. She has those moments where she kind of, it's a relative rest because then she can go again. But you know what she does? She makes really good decisions on when to be involved and when not to be. And she has a great unit behind her, you know, from a defensive point of view. They work extremely hard.
And actually we should flag up that she's not just a goal scorer, she's got 9 assists as well this season.
Well, I think the fluidity that the Arsenal team had, in particular in the start of the season, was fantastic. Obviously, they've suffered their injuries as the season gone on. They're missing the likes of Jordan Nobbs. And even when we pan to their bench earlier, if you look at the talent they have on their bench, they're going to be one heck of a challenge for everybody next year if they keep everybody fit.
It's good work by Vaughan, because McCabe couldn't turn and see the runners ahead of her. Mead.
Hines has got a job on her hands today, dealing with Beth Mead, but it's not actually only Beth Mead, it's Veyer as well, because they interchange and they work the line really well, Arsenal fullbacks and wingers. So if one's not causing you the problem, the other one probably is.
It's good work by Mead to win it back. Here's Kim Little. Miedema. Now Evans. That's a good turn of pace. McCabe. Shut down by James.
Disappointing distribution from James then, but again it highlights her qualities as a interrupter of opponents' play and a pincher, as we call them in centre mid.
I like that, pincher.
Yeah, we simplify the game. You know, for me, the game is simple. I think coaches just generally, you know, sometimes want to make it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. So we use really simple terminology. It works for us. And everybody understands what that means and what that job is. I think Stringer and James are working extremely hard as that more defensive two in midfield for Everton right now. And, you know, at times they're doing a really good job. At times they get in split because they're following players a bit too much and not aware of the next runner. But, you know, they've put a heck of a shift in already, and we're only, what, 37, 38 minutes into the game.
That was nearly an excellent Arsenal team goal.
Again, the ploy from Everton when they regain possession is to look far side early, so that switch is obviously one of the things they've been working on this week, to when they do pinch, try and switch, try and exploit the space on the far side of the Arsenal defensive unit.
Good crowd at Bournemouth. Sensible ones are in the stands in the shade. Evans linking up well.
Yeah, you're right. Good example there of the flank players for Arsenal really interchanging really well. And if you watch Katie McCabe when she comes to receive a ball, you know, she can do it in various ways. She's half-turned a lot of the time, so she's aware of what's around her, so she can bounce on one touch. Or in these two examples we've seen now, she's holding strong players off.
Tremendous ball. Here's Van der Donk. Miedema! So nearly a tap in for Beth Mead. Really good defensive work by Taylor Hines.
Great run from Van der Donk. You know, she's a player we haven't mentioned too much in the game so far. And, you know, good delivery again. And unfortunately for Arsenal, there was two Everton defenders ready to cut that out.
Here is Van der Donk. Bloodworth.
Bloodworth just goes about her business. You know, in build-up play, she's always a support option for whoever has the ball, whether it's centre-backs, whether it's full-backs. And obviously she's in the team to try and disrupt the Everton build-up now.
And another example of a good pinch from James.
It's sticking, isn't it? You're going to be using it a lot now.
I am.
I'll teach you some Welsh words as well, if you like, as we go through.
So if it doesn't come to that, I'll embarrass your country.
Then you'll confuse a few people. Well, your pronunciation of Van Harrod was interesting at the start of the day, to be fair.
Oh, you've stitched me right up there.
Has. We all go by
That's
has.
why you call
it's
her
a lot
has.
easier. Great awareness there and good pass. Do you know what we've seen from young Hannah Kane so far in the game is a lot of, you know, great work ethic. She's up and down that line. She's becoming a fullback when she needs to. She's backing her back line up, and she's always the option in attack. She's the one they're trying to get on the ball immediately when they do win the ball back, Everton.
Oh, it's a corner.
They've racked up the corners, haven't they? Another opportunity here.
But they've got to make most of them, because these are their opportunities to get back in the game.
Siri Vaughan. It's another one near the goalkeeper, and the referee Stacey Pearson has spotted something on that occasion, but you can see what they're trying to do.
Seconds behind it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Everton, it's not quite coming off, but I think that must be the 5th or 6th corner opportunity they've had. So, you know, not many teams get that many in our first 45 minutes against Arsenal. So I'm sure Willie Kirk will be going in at half-time and putting a lot of emphasis on those opportunities and how they have to be better in those instances.
She's certainly been a threat as well.
Yeah, lots and lots of pace. A handful for the back line. If they switch off for a moment, she'll have an opportunity on goal.
They are the joint lowest scorers with Yeovil, Everton, with 10 WSL goals. And like every football team, basically at every level, men or women, it's getting a clinical striker it's just gold dust, isn't it?
Why they cost a lot of money.
Because the build-up for Everton,
they aren't in abundance.
No.
You know, we've seen a fantastic example of Miedema, you know, in earlier in the game with the goal she's taken, but a lot of players don't respond in those situations in that way. They're few and far between, unfortunately. And teams have to find ways of getting the ball in the back of the net by becoming more of a team unit at times and not necessarily relying on one individual to do those moments of magic.
Karkman's their top scorer in the Women's Super League with 3. She could have got 4, but she missed a penalty against Birmingham midweek.
That would have been disappointing from an Everton point of view, getting those opportunities and not putting them away. Reading the reports that I've read over the last few weeks from Willie Kirk, he seems like he's been fairly happy after the games, but not really getting what they deserve from the games. I haven't watched every single game, so I can't comment too much on whether that's right or wrong. But according to the manager, he has been impressed with certain elements of the game, but whether it's lack or whether it's just pressure situations and then not making the most of the opportunities they get against all teams they've played against.
It's been fairly narrow margins. It's been a couple of 1-0 defeats, that sort of thing. So defensively, they're not too bad, especially against the teams around them.
Maybe it's the reality of, look, you might only get 2 or 3 chances in a game and you've got to take one of them.
Approaching half-time then. Arsenal haven't had too many opportunities, but they've taken 2 of them. Kim Little forces the corner.
Another player we haven't spoken too much about in the first half of this game. Obviously going about her business, doing the defensive job for the team in central midfield, but usually we'll be talking a lot about it because she's on the ball and she's running at opponents, or her movement off the ball is creating lots of headaches for the opponent back line. But one of our quieter games so far.
Mead with the corner. Novell did just enough. Via. A decent save by the Everton shot stopper.
Second phases of corners can be a big focus area for some coaches and not necessarily for others, but they are a massive part of the game. Is, you know, people do focus on how they defend the first phase here, you know, goalkeeper making good contact, but then the key part for me as a coach is what happens now. The ball's back out, it's open play now. Who's reacting? Is nearest player going? Are we putting pressure on the ball? Are we stopping easy goal scoring opportunities? So now another example here, they're getting out quickly. Are they dealing with those runners?
It's nicely worked by Arsenal.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum
2 minutes
of
of
2
added
minutes
time
added
at the end of the
2
first
minutes.
half. Arsenal ending it very strongly. Make sure you stick with us at half-time. Go through the young PFA Player of the Year nominations and the Player of the Year as well. And we'll hear also from Adriana Leon, West Ham forward, after they managed to get through to their first ever FA Cup final in their first season as a pro club.
Yeah, the tempo of the game has gone in the last few minutes. It's settled a bit too much. does seem like Arsenal are probably just in, you know, second or third gear right now. I think the positive thing from Everton in this first half is actually the players are still committing to their job at hand. You know, they haven't given up, first 5-minute goal, but they're still working really hard. Obviously, they have a job to do and they've stuck to it.
Willie Kirk will be disappointed with the scoreline, but as you say, not with their efforts. So Arsenal on their way to what is required in order to reclaim the WSL title. Hitting the front early on inside the first 5 minutes with, well, we think it was an own goal, but Quinn was in close attendance, and then Miedemar with quite the finish to make it 2-0 to Arsenal at half-time at Boreham Wood. So lots of work for Everton to do. Arsenal in full control. Arsenal 2, Everton 0 at the break.
They'll put new ones in there.
Jane Ludlow, your thoughts?
Well, look, if you're an Everton fan right now, or the Everton boss, you go in and then you're just demanding more from your players, the most they can give you for the next 45 minutes. Obviously, they have a game plan they're trying to stick to. As we mentioned at the beginning of the game, I still think it's a really important game for them as players. You know, they want to be in the Everton team next season, and they have a new manager who wants to rebuild. So they have a point to prove to the boss man on the side. So still an important game for them. From Arsenal perspective, happy days right now.
Let's go through the key incidents then of the first half, and an early goal, just what was required for Arsenal. We think it's an own goal, although it has been given to Quinn here. It may have just come off Stringer.
Yeah, look, she struggled to deal with the physicality of Quinn, and why not give it to the attacking player?
That was the perfect start. It took a while for them to double their lead, but they did it in style. When I say they, I mean Vivian Miedemar.
Yeah, and great movement off Beth Mead as well, getting involved in this. Obviously, the finish is just excellent. What can you say? The touch, going around a couple of players. Here, you know, her awareness to link up with Beth Mead, the movement from Beth Mead. Beth Mead's awareness to see the run from Miedemar, but then the calmness. You know, step past one or two, chip it over the other two.
Just have a little dribble in the penalty area there, then sit the goalkeeper down and chip it in. I mean, the confidence of this girl.
Yeah, wouldn't you just love to have a centre forward in your team with that ability?
Yep, wouldn't be bad. So Arsenal, well, have one hand on 3 points really. Just have to see out the second half. Be interesting to see how Everton respond. So Arsenal had a few other chances, didn't they?
Well, look,
McCabe.
what Everton have to make sure is they don't give Arsenal easy opportunities to just run off their back line. Again, another example of this. Lots of space in the final third for Arsenal players to use, and can't keep giving this level of player that opportunity because they're going to hit the back of the net more often than not. Good movement from players around the ball here. So Van der Donk didn't speak about it too much in the game, but look, you know, great movement into the channel and good support options from Miedemar. Unfortunately, final pass wasn't quite to Beth Mead, far post.
Then the opportunity from the corner kick, and as you rightly said, it's the second phase, isn't it?
Yeah, and Everton have done well there, actually, to get bodies out, get in people's faces, to not give them easy shooting opportunities.
And this was the half penalty shout from Arsenal, although when you can see the reaction from the Arsenal players, not too many of them were too unhappy with the decision.
No, I think their legs have got a little bit mixed up, but it wasn't intentional, and I definitely don't think it was a dive.
And, well, chances for Everton have been few and far between, but they had one pretty good one, and it came from the pace of Chantal Boyd-Lorca, who has caused a few problems actually this afternoon.
Really good to watch this young player getting on the ball, and look, great decision. Obviously she's realising she hasn't got much time and space to use. She has to make a really early decision once she's controlled the ball here, and it was a good right foot strike.
Certainly had Van Veenendaal scrambling.
In the Academy Cup final against Manchester United under 21s, welcoming Leicestershire at Loughborough University. It's a kick-off at 3:30.
Make sure you stay with us. Second half to come at Boreham Wood, with Arsenal leading by 2-0. Right now, let's turn our attention to one of the FA Cup finalists, West Ham. We've been catching up with one of their star forwards, Canadian international Adriana Leon.
Hi, I'm Adriana Leon. Passionate, I'm tricky on the ball, I'm competitive, I'm quick. Life at West Ham was great, really. I have settled into life in London pretty easily. It was really easy coming into the team environment just because everyone was super friendly and welcoming. It's nice that, you know, we're all on the same page and we want to win, hopefully, championships in the future. Helped that I knew Matt Beard as well, and we had a really good working relationship in Boston. And he's very easygoing and he's here to make us all better. To have a coach like that, it's really great as a player. You always want to be surrounded by someone who's passionate about the sport and clearly here to make us better as players. When I joined West Ham, I knew that I'd be getting game time in January, which was really important for me just to get ready for the Women's World Cup this summer. Before I came here, I spoke with Janine Becky, my Canadian teammate. She told me a lot about the league and she really recommended it and thought that it would fit perfectly with my game. It's a really good place to play football.
Here is Cho. Cool as you like. West Ham are going to Wembley in their first season as a pro club.
I mean, I think you could tell by all of our reactions that we were just absolutely thrilled that Cho scored the winning PK, and you know, we created history over the weekend, so that was super exciting and it's nice to be a part of.
Adriana Leon, Canadian international. Composed.
It's probably the first PK I really took in a big match like that, but walking up, or actually was jogging to the penalty spot, and I was extremely nervous. And I think some of my teammates actually said to me, like, you looked so nervous that we thought you were gonna miss. In the end, I pulled through and made the shot, and even though I was nervous, it was just a big relief at the end, and it was nice to score for the team.
And it's Matt Beard's side who will take their place in the National Stadium in May.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be just one of those experiences that you really never forget about, and it's going to be the highlight of many of our careers, and it's going to be a thrilling day.
2, 3, 4.
Winning the semi-final and playing in the final for the FA Cup is unbelievable, and you know, we're going to be guns blazing and leaving everything on the field. Win or lose, I mean, we're all proud of each other already. We've come so far as a first-year team, and you know, the future is really exciting for this club.
Well, it should be an absolute cracker, and we'll be there. The FA Cup final between Manchester City and West Ham will be live on BBC One from Wembley Stadium Saturday, May the 4th. Kickoff is at 5:30. Elsewhere today in the Women's Super League, following Arsenal against Everton, we've got Liverpool against Bristol City and then West Ham against Birmingham. We can see one fixture which took place on Saturday with Reading beating Brighton by 1-0. And you can see all the highlights from all of those games from the Women's Super League and the Champions League tonight on the Women's Football Show, BBC One, tonight at 11:30. Now we'll go through the nominations for the Player of the Year in just a moment with Ailey Barber and Farrah Williams. But first, let's take a look at the nominations for the PFA Young Player of the Year.
Fantastic from Miedema.
Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, Baggett quality.
That's a really good save. What an excellent finish. Oh, what a goal!
She's got the footballing world at her feet.
It's fabulous technique from Erin Cuthbert.
Cuthberts! The champions are in a commanding position. What a goal! from a wonderful young talent.
So those are the nominations for the Young Player of the Year. Jane, anyone stand out from that list? Obviously, they're all outstanding, but anyone in particular?
Well, we've spoken at length about one, obviously, Miedema, who could end up winning both of the trophies. But for me, I just love Cuthbert. I think she's a fab young player. And we should see that later on today with Chelsea, hopefully, if she's in the starting lineup in their Champions League game. I just think she's absolutely fantastic, a younger player. Look, no disrespect to any of the ones we've already mentioned. They're all fantastic players, and all of them would help any team in this division do well. But for me, she's been the stand-up young player, the one that you wouldn't have known much about previously to the season.
Certainly tough competition. Let's take a look now at the senior PFA Player of the Year nominations.
It's fabulous technique from Erin Cuthbert.
The champions are in a commanding position. She's got the footballing world at her feet. Brilliant from Miedema. Fantastic centre forward play. Fabulous finish.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant from G. Fantastic.
The captain, Steph Walton, is there again.
Yes, hello from a beautifully sunny Borehamwood. Farah Williams alongside me. Let's talk about that shortlist for the Player of the Year. It's been narrowed down to 6. It's been such a competitive season, but 6 really good performers across the season there for the award, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely 6, fantastic players that have had really consistent seasons. So it's been really good. I think it'll be hard to cut that, that 6 down to the 1, and it'll be really tight. But I think it'll be out of Nikita Paris and Miedema.
Yeah, Miedema, like Rob has just been saying, is nominated for both Young Player and Players Player. It's tough when you're voted for both. I mean, not many win both.
No, they don't, you're right. And I think, with Miedema being nominated for Young Player and Senior Player of the Year, I think Nikita might just pinch that, the Senior Player, and Miedema might get the Young Player of the Year.
Now, there's always contention when you get a short list like this. There's always somebody missing that you think should have been on it. Who did you vote for?
I actually voted for Danielle van der Donk. I think she's had a fantastic season for Arsenal. I think she's the type of player that you want in your team, and you really don't want to play against her. And I think in today's game she's really proved what she can do for Arsenal, and she's dangerous.
Yeah, surprised that she's not in amongst that shortlist. Maybe say something about how difficult she is to play against.
Yeah, she's
voted
really
for by fellow players.
She's really difficult. I mean, it is. She's one of those players that you actually hate to play against, and it's not a nice thing to say. Maybe that's why she's not been voted. Maybe it's a thing that not that she's not liked, but she's really a whole player to play against. But that's what makes her so good, I believe.
Yeah, she's had a fantastic season. A great game today. We'll get onto that in just a second, but let's touch on Reading's season. Real disappointment last weekend in the FA Cup semi-final, but how do you sort of reflect on the season as a whole with just a few games left to play?
Yeah, I think we've had a bit of an inconsistent season. I think, we was really disappointed with a defeat to West Ham, but, on reflection, I really don't believe it was our day, and, full credit to West Ham, they're going to go and enjoy a day out at Wembley. But, yeah, pretty inconsistent season for us, but hopefully we can finish fifth.
Battle scars from that game as well, cutting around your eye, but it was a really disappointing, I suppose, way to end the season. You've got a few games now. Is it about ending the season positively, building towards next season? Yeah,
we had 2 targets, and that was originally to finish 4th in the league, which that slipped away a long time ago with our inconsistency, and it was to get to a cup final. I mean, we came close, but as I said, on reflection of the game in the semi-final, I just don't think it was meant to be for us.
Yeah, let's have a look at this game. Arsenal, a really potentially tricky game for them, given what's at stake. 2 more wins to win the title. They got on the score sheet very early, which seemed to just settle them down.
Yeah, I think so. I think Everton will be disappointed to concede from a set piece so early in the game. I think Everton was settling nicely until that goal, and then I think Arsenal have just grown into the game and looked pretty dominant and in control.
Yeah, they have done for a lot of the season. Everton, though, under Willie Kirk, they're building towards next season. They have had moments where they've played very nice football.
They definitely have. I think they've made it hard for Arsenal at times. I think they've been very dangerous from set pieces. It'll be interesting to see actually how many corners they've had in this first half. I think they've at least 8 corners that I've seen, and they could nick one from a corner, I think.
Yeah, do you think it's just essentially a procession now for Arsenal to winning this title?
I think so. I think with the heat, I think that's playing a little bit of a part, and now they've got the 2-goal cushion. I think they'll just control the rest of the 45.
Yeah, well, they've got a couple of games left if they don't get the 3 points today, but it looks like it might well be another 3 points for Arsenal. Players are beginning to emerge here, so let's get back to the second half with your commentary team, and you can join Farah and myself on the Women's Football Show for all the highlights of the WSL weekend, as well as that Champions League semi-final between Chelsea and Lyon. Hope you can join us then. 11:30, BBC One.
Thank you, Ailey. Nearly set for the second half between Arsenal and Everton. And the players just begin to emerge from the tunnel. We'll ask Jane Ludlow, former Arsenal player and current Wales manager. I mean, Willie Kirk, as we mentioned, I think he'll be fairly pleased with the performance.
Well, I think he'll be pleased with the fact that all his players have they've stuck to the task at hand. They're working extremely hard. There's a game plan in place, so they are doing their best to stick to. But it'll be interesting to see if he makes any changes now, second half. He does have a fairly full bench, so does he want to see more of the other players? Does he trust them enough to put them in against, obviously, the best team in the league right now, or one of the best teams in the league?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Everton and Arsenal!
Definitely a day for ice cream. Making light work of that.
He has a challenge on his hands now over the summer, and obviously they'll want to start the next season very well. There'll be a rebuilding process, I'm sure, over the summer for them. But next year's WSL 1 is going to be a tough ask, you know, for all teams. We're going to have another massive team involved with good finances behind them. So those teams with less financial help may struggle to bring in the caliber of player that they'll end up competing against.
It's a very good point, because that's top 3 might become a top 4, mightn't it? And they're battling it out. Chelsea, well, it's missing out on Champions League football next season, unless, of course, they can win the competition. That's going to be a tough ask.
Well, if they do manage to get past Lyon now in these two legs coming up, then they deserve to win it.
Absolutely.
To be fair.
Don't forget, that'll be live on the BBC Sport website and app, iPlayer, and on the red button at 5 minutes to 4 this afternoon. The away leg first in Lyon for Chelsea. Right here, it's the second half between Everton and Arsenal at Boreham Wood, and it's Everton in their away strip to get us underway. Arsenal with a 2-goal lead, thanks to a goal from Quinn / own goal. Need to get that confirmed, and a quite spectacular goal from Miedemar.
Composed is the word I'd use, I think. Composed.
Composed.
It doesn't make it sound as good, but it was definitely composed.
No, I mean, composed, I think, is to undersell it. I mean, that...
Yeah, she made a mug of those around her, to be fair. Not in a showboating way, but just with her talent. You know, the ability she has to manipulate the ball in pressured situations.
Yeah, going on a mazy run inside the sort of 6-yard area is not something you usually see, but she pulled it off. And now 30 goals for her this season.
Space is opening up in the central area of the pitch again for Everton. It's an area they've got to protect really well today to keep this scoreline down.
Kirsty Lavelle made one very good save in that first half. Via up against Boyd Walker, who's given her a couple of scares, actually, the Arsenal left back.
Good work by Stringer there, intercepting. Arsenal asking for a free kick. Miedemar thinking that she's actually caught her late. Good hustling from the centre mid for Everton.
Here's Kane, he's just overrun that. She was very bright in the first half as well, from an Everton point of view. Van der Donk. Mead.
Poorer delivery there from Beth Mead. It's unusual from her. Time to runs could have been a bit better, more support in the box earlier for her, but no, disappointing delivery from her there, which is unusual.
She is the top assister this season. If we give her the assist for that opening Arsenal goal, that's her 11th of the season.
Good pressing from Arsenal there, just forcing an error from the Everton backline.
And actually, technically, would she have the assist for the Miedemar goal, even though she just passed to her for it?
Well, I guess so, yeah.
Last person to touch it for Miedemar, so that's a couple more for Beth Mead. She obviously contributed a bit more than that, but I do find it funny when you get credited with assist for sort of laying it off 30 yards from goal and they put it in the top corner. Brilliant. Van der Donk. Saw that a bit short to Via, but it is going to be a corner. It looks tough out there, doesn't it?
Well, look, the front line, so you got Hannah Kane one side, and the youngster we've spoken a lot about already in the game, Boyle Hawker. They've got one heck of a job physically to do today because they are playing as fullbacks a lot of the time, but then they're the ones expected to get forwards as soon as Everton do win the ball back.
It's corner. Oh, it's almost a clearance. And Danielle Turner's down. I think Leah Williamson got the final touch there. She immediately called for assistance.
I think she might have ended up just landing on her awkwardly as they came into contact.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been actually a knee in the face or the chest. That's not going to be a comfortable one for her.
She won the header well, Williamson, and yeah, she's just landed on her. Saw a few of those last week, didn't we, in the semi-final between West Ham and Reading? Some very strong challenges.
That was definitely players all wanting to get desperately to that cup final. You know, the physical challenges were flying in there all through the game.
Actually, the opening goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, and when you think back, look, there were penalty opportunities not given. There were a lot of contact situations happening within the box too. You know, everywhere on the pitch they were happening. So it was a very competitive game. And, you know, we spoke many times last week about Reading being unfortunate, but they didn't take chances. And West Ham, you know, stuck in there. And they've ended up getting to their first cup final, which I'm sure they are definitely looking forward to as a club.
Well, if you stuck with us at half-time, you would have seen Farrah Williams still sporting a shiner from that battle against West Ham for her Reading side. And also Jo Potter, who suffered a very serious facial injury. She's going to be out for the rest of the season at the very least.
Yes, and thinking back to that game, it seemed to be a bit of an innocuous challenge, but she definitely got, obviously, as you've mentioned, really badly hurt.
There's Via.
What Arsenal is doing really well in their build-up is they're moving the full-back around, which is then creating space for somebody else, not necessarily the Arsenal winger, to use in wide areas. At times we've seen Van der Donk using that area, at times we've seen the full-backs using the area, but they're moving the Everton full-backs into positions that they're becoming non-existent in the backline unit. So they're going with runners rather than being aware of protecting space.
Colours go.
So we still see quite a high pressing line from Everton. You know, they are trying to affect centre-backs when they're in possession. Kagman right now has one heck of a job because she's dealing with both. What we see at times is obviously one of the midfielders coming up and helping her, whether it be McGill. In that instance, we saw James doing the job. But then they've exposed space behind them, because what's happening when they're trying to press that high, the back line needs to hold their line and not drop. As soon as back line decides to drop, that central midfield, that middle third of the pitch becomes absolutely huge for the other two centre mids who are left there.
Arsenal nearly in.
Well, Arsenal fans are in full voice today, and you know they should be happy. They've waited a long time to get back into the Champions League and, you know, be on the cusp of winning the title again.
We saw one particular fan, didn't we, pre-match?
Maria. Do you know what? I have got a lot to thank those fans for. I absolutely loved my time at the club. Loved it, partly because of the support we were given by those people, and obviously part of the support we were given by the club, and obviously all my teammates, and being involved in that environment was just the best life experience ever. But those fans that made it just, you know, when I think back to our Champions League win, our second leg in Boreham Wood, and it was packed out Boreham Wood, which was only been a few thousand at the time, but it was the best environment ever.
That was very much before women's football was covered as part of the sort of mainstream media.
Yeah, and you know, we had a packed house there, and all those fans that had followed us through the season, and yeah, great experience, and one I hope to never forget.
And Maria was there?
Oh God, yes, yes, definitely in full voice with all her songs of all our players.
And there today as well, Beth Mead, just dispossessed, trying to make something happen on the edge of the area. If you're wondering who Maria is, you can catch her on, I think she was on Arsenal's Twitter feed with one of her chants.
Yeah, those fans who support any of the female teams and have done for many years, you know, they're the best people ever for me. I think they've supported when the sport wasn't as popular as it is now. Hopefully it'll keep growing and we'll have more of those types of people, but they were great for us, you know. They turn out week in, week out in all weathers, at all pitches, all around the country, and I was very thankful as a player and played in the team for 13, 14 years that they were there by our side.
And credit to Everton fans who've made the trip, the long trip from Merseyside on bank holiday to Boreham Wood. Boreham closed down by McCabe.
Yeah, that was a difficult pass for her to deal with on the edge of the box, wasn't it? They're a little bit risky with what they're doing at the moment, Everton, but actually Arsenal aren't really going full out with the press either, so they're getting away with it. I'm sure Willie Kirk doesn't want them playing around slow passes around the edge of the box for too long.
And she is lost by Stringer. Oh, that was a dreadful challenge by Abby Lee Stringer. Very late. Oh, and Van der Donk has pushed the referee.
I think you saw frustration coming out then from the Everton central midfield player. She's worked really hard throughout the game, but definitely a late one.
A yellow card for Stringer, and Van der Donk will do well to calm down here, because not only did she give the referee a shove, she's now complaining. And I think she's lucky now to get just a yellow, actually, Van der Donk.
Be interesting to see back, because she must have been one of the nearest players, and she's obviously thought it was it's a naughty challenge. I say naughty, it's a very badly timed challenge and a high one, which is something that's really unusual in the female game, to be honest, but it's one I think that if Stringer looks back, she'll regret that challenge, because she could have hurt Beth Mead here.
I think they're both lucky, actually, having seen that replay back. And Beth Mead is still down here. And also Van der Donk's reaction.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Look, somebody needs to control her there. There's always a lot of emotion in the game. We've already spoken about Van der Donk, her competitive side, but that has to be controlled. She's a top-level national team player. She should know a bit better, to be fair, because there's no reason at all in a match, whatever match you're playing, that you put hands on the officials. Look, I've had my moments with officials over the years, and believe it or not, I love them all to bits. But we used to have a right ding-dong, but that's one thing you don't do.
That is unacceptable. And I just wonder, although she's been booked, but I'm sure someone's going to have a word with Van der Donk about her conduct there. And on the pitch, well, I'm sure we'll discuss that later, this is extremely worrying for England and Arsenal with Beth Mead.
Well, it looks like she's caught her just above the ankle, so bottom of the shin, which, you know, obviously worst case there, you can get broken bones. But the fact that she's putting some weight on is a good sign, but they can be ones that take a little bit of time to heal, even if it's not a broken bone, the soft tissue area, because there's not much protection around there. It's generally where your shin pad doesn't cover unless you're wearing a hockey type of shin pad.
And she's still going.
Yeah, I'm surprised Kim Little isn't just trying to calm the situation. She's got the captain's armband on today, and they've just got to be sensible. They're obviously really disappointed for their teammates' perspective because she could have got really hurt. Wasn't a great challenge.
No. We'll breathe a sigh of relief for now for Beth Mead.
If her foot was planted on that contact, then it could have been a lot worse. Luckily, it wasn't.
Well, in my opinion, there could have been 2 red cards there. As it is, we still have 11 v 11. And Mead is back on the pitch. Here is Miedemar. Little.
Great feet from McGill there to get out of a really tight situation. Look, she's carrying on a run. Unfortunately, the pass just wasn't quite back to her, and Arsenal have managed to pinch it back.
Here's Van der Donk. Well, we said she's fiery, but that was over the top. And that's a fantastic pass from Miedemar. Good goalkeeping from the Vel.
Yeah, good positioning from the goalkeeper there. I think talking back to the Van der Donk issue, will be interesting to watch the next 5 minutes because competitive centre-mids don't let things go. So they'll be interesting if they end up having a 50-50 challenge. Hopefully nobody will get hurt from it because I'm sure she's still remembering what's just gone on right now.
Here is Via. It's easily dealt with by Finnegan. Just look at the Arsenal bench, you know, just wonder if either Mead to sort of protect her a little bit, although she looks all right now. We've got the likes of Danielle Carter who could come on, and for Van der Donk just to protect her in a different way.
Oh, this is interesting.
It's a back pass. It's going to be a free kick to Everton.
What a strange decision from the goalkeeper. Oh, focus. Focus has just gone for a couple of seconds there. Definitely, look, it's a back pass. It's, you know, you can see Williamson has meant that.
I think she's just had a bit of a moment, didn't she?
Well, she hasn't been in the game much, but that's not really an excuse at this level. You know, you have to keep your concentration and your focus so that these things don't happen. You're not giving the opponents an easy opportunity to get a goal back.
These are always absolute chaos, aren't they? Let's see what happens. Everton, this is a big opportunity, although they're going to have to get through the Arsenal red wall here.
Do they play to the edge player, which is James? Or do they just smash it?
Full start from Lisa Evans. Oh, it's in! And Everton have one back, and it's Boy Lorca.
Great for her to get on the scoring sheet today because she's put in a great performance for her team. Worked really hard defensively, created some opportunities for herself. Arsenal will be really disappointed. You know, they've given Everton a chance to get back in the game. Great decision here to just strike it towards the near post. I'm really surprised there was space there. There's so many bodies there. Oh, wow. We have bodies there, but they're not. There's spaces between them.
That's a tremendous finish, isn't it, from Boy Lorca? Through the Ivan Needle.
Great finish, good spot, but disappointing from an Arsenal setup.
Oh, and Elise Hughes is on.
Great to see the youngster getting some game time. Last 30 minutes, hopefully she can have an effect for her team. One thing she does do is work extremely hard, so we'll see her trying to press the Arsenal backline whenever she gets an opportunity to do so.
Well, you could say, from an Everton perspective, they've had a bit of a slice of fortune there because they could have perhaps been down to 10. And then they've capitalised brilliantly on a bit of a ridiculous moment from Sari van Veenendaal. And they're back in this game. Hannah Kane off for Elise Hughes, so one youngster for another, well, an even younger one. we should say, 18-year-old Elise Hughes, Young Welsh Player of the Year. And here is Boyle Orca with a bit of space.
It's why we love football, I guess, because anything can happen. We still have 30 minutes of play time, so this is, no, it's not in the bag for Arsenal yet.
Still don't know how she scored that.
Well, watching the slow-mo back, the ball or the bodies that were set up on the line for Arsenal, I think might as well have not have been there.
Didn't look like it took a deflection or anything, did it? It was very good finish from Boyle Orca. Here is Vivian Miedemar. Just showed a bit too much of that to Finnegan. Commits the foul on Abby Lee Stringer.
Who, as you've mentioned, is probably lucky to still be on the pitch with the earlier challenge on Beth Mead.
Let's have another look at the goal from Boyle Orca. Touched on by Cargman.
So you've actually got Williamson and Bloodworth right next to each other, and the goalkeeper in that area that she's managed to squeeze the ball through. So from an Arsenal perspective, really disappointing, but great from an Everton perspective. Let's see if they can keep responding and keep challenging now and get back on an even footing with Arsenal.
See Joe Montemiro not sitting quite as comfortably as he was. I'm sure Manchester City fans will be taking note of this. Goodness me, if it did go down to that final day shootout, Arsenal hosting Manchester City. If Arsenal do manage to get through this and win at Brighton, then it will be a bit of a damp squib, really. It will be a procession for Arsenal, a title celebration on that final day. If not, goodness me, what a game that will be.
Well, I guess it's great for the league when you think about it, because lots of people want to tune into that one and see who ends up taking the title away with them, if it does get to that point. I'm really surprised Everton haven't gone after the goalkeeper when there's back passes happening. If you think about what happened 5 minutes ago.
Well, I think she'd have learnt a lesson.
Well,
but
you never know.
Anyway, here is Beth Mead. Trying to come in field, and it was well read by the Everton defence. Here's Bloodworth, couldn't pick out Miedemar. And here's Boyle Orca. Not a great touch. Little. Evans wants it. She'd made the run down the far side. Here's Miedemar. Great feet.
Poor pass at the end of it, though. Not giving Kim Little much opportunity to retain the ball there. Good interception by Anhara James.
We're certainly livened up, hasn't it, in the second half?
Yeah, it's a better contest now.
That's nicely done. McCabe. McCabe tried to strike from Miedemar's layoff. Good defending again.
Yeah, it was good support movement from McCabe to support the original pass, but really good defending from an Everton point of view. Stuck to their tasks there. Dealing with runners, making sure there's no easy opportunities on their goal.
Bizarre decision, wasn't it, initially from Van Veenendaal?
Yeah, and the only excuse you can give her is because she hasn't actually been that active in the game. But it's not an excuse at this level. Full-time pros, you know, top-level players. That's a horror from a goalkeeper perspective. It's a bad decision.
Actually, they've been fairly consistently good in their level of performance throughout Willie Kirk's side.
Yeah, they've just stuck to the task at hand. They are causing themselves a problem with what decisions they're making on the flanks, though. Again, we see the fullback being taken by a movement. I think it was Beth Mead's movement, and ball's not being passed to Beth Mead, but the fullback's following the movement, and then that channel's opening up. And Arsenal haven't actually made the most of those opportunities, though.
McGill, that's what she was trying to do. Thread it forward towards Hughes. Do you see her as a traditional centre forward, Elise?
Well, there's a bit of a story to that one. I've played it everywhere. Age group, she used to be centre mid. Seniors, she first stepped on the pitch and played a really good game. I think it was against Switzerland, Cyprus Cup, as a fullback. Played 90 minutes as a fullback, and she was fab. And no, our natural position is a hold-up centre forward, and she's learning the game there now at the top level, which is great for club and country. To be fair, the type of kid she is, she'll play anywhere. If I said she needed to be a goalkeeper, she'd play. She wants to be on the pitch.
And she's quite tall as well, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a physical challenge for anyone.
A couple in the box there. Falls kindly for Katrine Wyatt.
Again, they're exposing the channel space. We've got fullback, you know, trying to do a recovery challenge, but making bad decisions in the first instance to follow players.
Arsenal haven't been at their incisive best this afternoon. Otherwise, the scoreline would be a bit different, you suspect. Here is Mead.
Again, getting space in the wide areas to use.
It's a good challenge by Vorm. Evans. Again, away by Finnegan this time. And Boy Lorca looks like she's just starting to run out of steam a little bit.
Yeah, and she's not the only one right now. That last spell, that last 30-second spell from Everton perspective wasn't good in the sense of their pressing game. They were sitting off, they're allowing people to deliver balls into the box, kind of just outside the defensive third. I am surprised they're not chasing the goalkeeper. Oh, I'd have to be telling them to go after the goalkeeper on back passes. Because look, yeah, you say, well, she's made one error, she'll learn from it. Not necessarily. It might put her in even more of a panic situation. Just whether the Everton front line have the energy to do it right now. It doesn't look like they have.
If she did that again.
Arsenal are just happy to play around in these areas now to make sure they retain possession. Look, this one's got to be an opportunity for me. Go after her, go after her!
So if Jane was in the technical area, that's what she'd be saying.
You'd see black shirts now running down at this goalkeeper just to put pressure. Look, she's a top-level goalkeeper, but the fact that she's made an error like she has, you've got to try and keep the pressure on it.
Vi's lost it. Good pinch by Hughes.
Yep, Welsh national team player. That's what she'd be thinking in her head.
Team full of pinchers.
Hey, I joke about it, but it's why we've been able to compete as well as we have in the last couple of years. It's our defensive game that's setting the store for us, and we have to now try and match it with our attacking game.
Van der Donk. Miedemar. Little. Bloodworth. She doesn't mind a long ranger. Bloodworth! What a bad effort.
Some tired legs out there from an Everton perspective. Cagman there just trying to... They looked like she was actually going to pull her back just before she took the shot on. Some tired legs. They worked extremely hard.
Well, Bloodworth is known for the long ranger. Off target this time and nearly taking out a member of the crowd.
Lots of power on that strike, but just obviously not the right direction on it.
Going back to your Welsh team, Jane, you were exceptionally unlucky not to at least get a playoff.
Well, look, we went up into the last game. Nobody scored a goal against us. Look, I'm really proud of what the performances the girls put in, and you know, they stuck to their tasks throughout all games. It was always going to be a tough one against England, the level they're at, and you know, we're still very much a developing team. We gave our all that night, but it wasn't good enough. Simple as that. We have to be better if we want to get to a major tournament in the future, and we're working hard to do it. Oh, that's a disappointing sight for any Arsenal and England fan, if I'm honest. Really, really hard to see her in the stand. I think she is hopefully doing really well from a rehab perspective, but it won't be quick enough, unfortunately, to step on the pitch for England in the summer.
No, we've seen footage of her in the gym, lifting weights, already putting weight on the knee, of course, but it's going to take a long time. And thankfully, England fans can breathe a sigh of relief because Beth Mead on the end of a very late challenge and a high one as well. And she's come out unscathed. And it was actually in this fixture, the reverse fixture, that Jordan Nobbs damaged her ACL.
Yeah, you're right. She got her foot stuck in the ground. I remember seeing footage of it.
So the players have had their drinks break. Back into the action. Arsenal just starting to get on top a bit more here now. Here is Mead.
Interesting to see if Everton make any more changes to see if they can get a point out of this game. Now it's 18 minutes left to play.
Don't have too many more attacking options on the bench. They have a couple of midfielders though. They could bring on for fresh legs. Little. Oh, just miscue from Miedemar. Difficult opportunity, that one.
Great tight turn from Kim Little there. Good first touch and then quick body swerve to just get away from a marker, and good delivery. Great, just kind of dropped the shoulder right hand side, and then, you know, defender's gone the opposite way and she's created that little pocket of space for it just to get a delivery off.
The 2 o'clock kickoff has kicked off. Liverpool against Bristol City. The other game, West Ham against Birmingham, kicks off at Rush Green, 3 o'clock. If it stays like this, Arsenal will go 4 points clear at the top of the Women's Super League table. Form sends it forward.
Again, Everton just trying to use those wide areas to get the ball into the final third. Not quite getting the pass right to make sure that they're retaining the ball in those areas right now. But good to see them, you know, they're still trying to build. They're still trying to go at this Arsenal team.
Behind his cross, easy take for Van Beenendaal. What was the most serious injury you had to cope with, or did you manage to?
Do you know, in a way I was lucky. I wasn't out for longer than about 3 or 4 months. Generally tended to get ligament injuries, lots of ankles, lots of knee issues, but never as, you know, the serious ones in a sense of ACL, stress fractures, and to be honest, is every part of my body. If you want to go through it, there's an injury there, you know, no.
But not the dreaded ACL. Or...
Maybe I'll feel them all when I hit, maybe, I don't know, 45. I've got a few years yet. But no, the reality of playing at the top level for many years is you're pushing your body to extremes. The good thing for all the players now is they have good medical setups, good support environments around them. So they make maybe different decisions to what we made when we were the last generation of player who just wanted to play at all times. You know, you're just strapping something up, you're just taking pain medications. Not generally the best things to do. So the game has moved forward in those sense. So you know, players are better looked after, and that wasn't because we didn't have the right people. We just didn't have enough of them.
The offside flag's gone up.
And I probably wouldn't have listened anyway.
No, I think that's been an issue as well, is that if you could take an injection and play, I think a lot of players do that.
I remember playing one of the cup finals, I believe it was against Leeds, and I'd literally a week before I damaged my medial meniscus, which is in the inside of my knee. And for me, it was a case of, well, yes, swollen, I can walk on it, I can run on it. It hurts if I do certain things, but you seriously saying I'm not playing in a cup final? I'm playing. It wasn't the greatest thing to do, because then I had a few months out after it. But wouldn't advocate it for any player. But it was a personal choice of whether or not, you know, as I get older, I'm going to regret those decisions. I wanted to be in those moments at that time.
But it did obviously aggravate it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a bit like an elephant leg after the game, to be fair. But never mind. It's all better now.
Referees pulled it back for a foul.
Look, I do joke about it. My background, I'm actually a qualified physio. So I kind of knew what was going on, and I made an educated decision, or not, many would say.
Or an uneducated one.
Yes, but it was a personal choice.
Here is Miguel. Everton still very much in this, though the attacks have dried up a little.
Yeah, I just like them to keep moving the ball a little bit quicker. They get into these situations and then look, see the pass earlier, move it a little bit quicker. But my challenge is them too much. It's been a really hot day. They've had to work really hard without the ball at times. But look, they've got good possession now. Let's see what they can create from it.
Miguel has had injury problems herself.
Great, that's much better.
Miguel's cross. Quinn just got there ahead of Hughes.
But are they now going to open themselves up because they're trying so much to get that goal back? Are they going to expose themselves at the back?
Well, let's see. Good pass from Kim Little, although Beth Mead has forced a little wide, and now Everton back in their shape. Maybe delayed a little. Didn't have too many options, did she, Beth Mead?
No.
Over there.
Did
right
look like it could end up being a goal-scoring opportunity for Arsenal then, with the numbers they were getting forwards quickly. But, you know, hey, for them, a 2-1 result is still the 3 points.
Fresh legs for Arsenal's Danielle Carter, ready to come on.
And I believe it's the Austrian national team player, Schneiderbeck, as well. Haven't seen her all season. So good to see how she competes now in the WSL.
Here is Van der Donk, wins the corner. I wonder if she'll be one of the players withdrawn, Van der Donk, after being on a booking. And as you mentioned, Abelie Stringer might be fortunate to still be on the field. I think the referee would have been well within her rights to send off Van der Donk as well. Here comes the corner, too strong for Leah Williamson.
Yeah, it was a tough challenge, that one, and a late one, the one you're talking about, and it doesn't generally happen in the women's game. It doesn't happen very often, those types of challenges.
Well, we've talked extensively about injuries, and Danielle Carter is still working her way back to full fitness. This will stand her in good stead. Another substitute appearance as she comes back from an anterior cruciate ligament injury. And Katrin Weyer, who's had a solid game, has had a couple of scares because of the pace of Chantal Boy-Lorca. So Danielle Carter coming on for some much-needed minutes. Fourth sub appearance in the WSL this season. And Victoria Schneiderbeck also on her third sub appearance for Arsenal, having signed in the summer from Bayern Munich. She signed with a knee injury.
Yeah, came up against Schneiderbeck when we played the Austrian national team in the last European qualifying competition. Good experienced player, played at the top level for many years now, so should be a composed head on her shoulders and technically a good player.
She made her comeback to the national team nearly a year out over the international break as a sub for Austria against Sweden, was part of that Austrian side that reached the semi-finals of Euro 2017, which was a complete shock.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, he utilised her in different ways as centre mid, but also she was the one that was dropping into the back line at times. She's been a backline player for them, so versatile player as well.
Little doing what Kim Little does.
It's great to see Dan Carter back on the pitch. You know, tough challenge for her being out so long, but it's really good for the club and for herself, obviously, to get back competing. Is it too late for her to try and force her way into the England national team? Maybe.
She scored 2 hat-tricks for England in qualifiers, but she's never made an appearance in a major tournament, just on the fringes. Always takes a little bit longer to do up your shoelaces when you're the goalkeeper.
And those gloves can be a bit of a pain to get back on. Your sweaty hands as well.
Oh yes, I bet they smell lovely after a day like today.
Our goalkeeper coach, John Horton, does some interesting things with his gloves in how he protects them and how he cares for them so much. He looks after them a lot. Probably because
Like
they're
a
so
child.
expensive, to be fair.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Perhaps a positive for Jordan Nobbs will be seeing Danielle Carter recovering and getting back to full fitness.
Yes, definitely agree. I think, you know, when you are out for a big chunk of time, when you see others coming back having had the same injury, it's obviously got to be a positive to know you're going to get back at some point. Again, I'd go after this. I'd go after this.
I think after 82 plus minutes in the sunshine, it may not be possible.
But look, when you look at it though, does it make a difference to Everton if they lose 3-1? Does it make a difference?
I agree. At some point, they're going to have to go for it. You're absolutely right. It's better to lose 3-1,
You're in
4-1.
contention to get a point, and a point against, you know, the team vying for the championship is a great confidence builder for your group.
Another substitution for Everton. And it's Emma Brownlee, who's actually a defender for Simone McGill, who's had a terrific game. Run the channels well.
Yeah, she's worked really hard up top, interchanging with different players at times, with Cagman, you know, from a defensive point of view, sharing that top role.
Scottish player Emma Brownlee, previously worked under Willie Kirk at Hibs. So looks like she has gone into a defensive, her usual position, right back, perhaps, to see how Everton reshuffle with Simone McGill withdrawn. Maybe Hines being pushed up further. Well, Boyle Lorca will give chase to this one, and well, Van Veenendaal made the clearance. The whistle had already gone.
Interesting decisions there again, from an Arsenal perspective.
Free kick to Everton. Maybe she felt there wasn't an advantage to be played there. Vaughan. Clearance by Quinn. James. Good pressure.
Well, it would really make things interesting now if Everton could get back in this game. And not obviously just for the two teams concerned, but for the title challenge.
I think you'd be able to hear the cheers up in Manchester if Everton managed to get an equaliser. 5 minutes left for them to do that.
Everybody at Arsenal, thank you for your amazing support.
Poor decisions in possession the last few minutes from an Arsenal perspective.
I think he might agree with you.
I'd surely be a little bit frustrated watching the last few minutes of this game.
Lavelle nearly caught out. Van der Donk closing her down. Everton work it well. Hagman away from Schnaderbeck. It's James.
Great delivery from James there out into a wide area.
Boy Lorca.
Unfortunately for Everton, she had a 2v1 to deal with straight away as she received though.
Arsenal having to do a lot of defending late on though in the second half. Olivia Chance getting ready for Everton, New Zealand international. To play by former Arsenal defender Hines.
substitution.
Another player who made a comeback from injury during the international break for New Zealand, Abby Lee Stringer, is off, substituted, not sent off, although that's debatable as to whether she should have been shown the red card.
It was interesting just to hear the reaction then from the crowd, if she did actually get any stick when she walked off the pitch, but it didn't sound like she did.
Not that we could hear. It's not something you usually get at women's football. Well, no, I say usually, it can happen.
Yeah, and it's probably the thing we are proud of within the women's game. It is a different environment that's created at national team games or club games, which is something that I hope we keep as a sport. It is a family environment. It's an environment you can bring your kids along to and any member of your family, and you can enjoy it. You're not going to feel pressured or hear silly chanting or, you know, feel abused in any shape or form. And it's something that I think will be highlighted in the World Cup, hopefully, out in France.
Well, Everton are finishing the half very strongly, as they have to, because it's just a goal away from claiming what would be a fantastic point for them and really putting a spanner in the works in the title race. It's not been convincing by Arsenal, and actually since they conceded that goal, they found it hard to fashion many chances. Carter gets a bit fortunate with the ricochet. It's good play, but the execution not quite there.
Good recovery challenge there from Everton. Yeah, you're right in a sense that probably for the last 10-15 minutes, if you look at the possession stats for that patch of the game, it's probably been Everton's best moments, in a sense that they've had the ball far more often than they have for the rest of the game, but haven't really created anything from having possession so far.
It's a good cross by Carter. Van der Donk didn't quite get the connection. And a third and final sub for Arsenal. And another one making her way back from injury, Tabia Kemmer. It's been an injury-laden season for Arsenal. Vivian Miedema, who looks like she's scored the decisive goal in the end. Arsenal settling for what they have as we head to stoppage time.
As I mentioned earlier, if this Arsenal squad stay together through the summer and club manage to keep them fit now starting next season, what a challenge that is for the manager to pick a starting lineup, because they're all top-level players, they're all national team players with numerous caps under their belt, and playing in top tournaments. A lot of these will be involved in the summer tournament.
The officials indicating an additional 5 minutes of added time.
5 minutes. That's going to give Everton a boost. Oh, terrific cross, and Turner was there. Cargman, well, she wants the corner. It's going to be a throw-in. What a chance that was for Everton.
Good defending in the end by Schneiderbeck for Arsenal, because Everton are getting some moments in the final third now, late on in the game.
Here's Hines. Finnegan. Now Vorm. Corner kick to Everton.
Well, they've had numerous opportunities of corners in this game and haven't made the most of them. And you're kind of looking at it going, this could be the last opportunity.
Good delivery.
Good pressure on the people in the box there, but Arsenal were very lucky because they'd actually lost their runners.
Can Everton finally capitalise on one of these corners? Vorm. It's another good one. Oh, just lands on the top of the net.
Just too high, unfortunately, for Everton.
Once again, targeting Van Veenendaal.
Yeah, and those in-swingers, in towards the goalkeeper, if they are on target, they are difficult ones for goalkeepers to deal with, especially if you've put in a lot of bodies around them, because you've got the defenders there trying to protect the goal, you've got the attackers there, and very little movement for a goalkeeper and little space for them to be able to move around to deal with those balls.
Liverpool have taken the lead in their game against Bristol City, 1-0. Rinsola Babajide with the goal for Liverpool. You'll be able to see that on the Women's Football Show later on this evening, BBC One, 11:30.
Yeah.
Still time for Everton here.
It's a test of character for the Arsenal players right now. 5 minutes left of the game, and they are, well, less than 5 minutes, but they are under a bit of pressure.
Kim Little manages to eat up some time, winning the free kick. Two minutes of stoppage time left. Carter wanted a free kick.
It's good defending by, I believe it's Hines then, good defending to just, you know, body check Dan Carter, stop again that free run into the channel to try and get on the end of that.
Little.
To Arsenal running into the corners now and keep the ball. No.
Kim Little's still going. And that'll do. Corner kick. That might just be it, actually.
Best form of defence is to attack, I guess. It's making the decision to just try and run down the clock in the corners.
Probably for the best. Here is Van der Donk. Little. Arsenal have it where they want it.
Do Everton have one more attack in them?
Well, the clock's ticking down. Less than 20 seconds left. McCabe. Bloodworth. Nicely done by Arsenal. It's Kemmer. Well, they might be able to wrap it up here. Arsenal, Van der Donk is offside. But you suspect that might be the final action now.
Good movement from Van der Donk. Unfortunately for her, though, timing not quite right.
Not the most convincing win, but a win nonetheless, and that is all that matters to Arsenal. 3 points away from winning the WSL 1 title. A 2-goal lead at the break. They conceded after half-time. Bit of a bizarre error from the goalkeeper. Let Chantal Boyle-Lorca reduce the arrears. Everton, to their credit, try to force the issue, but not quite enough. And in the end, it's a huge win for Arsenal, who can win the title in their next game away at Brighton. Full-time, Arsenal 2, Everton 1.
Well, a performance that will give Willie Kirk heart from an Everton perspective. You know, his team worked extremely hard. They managed to get themselves back in with a chance with, 10, 15 minutes to go. Fortunately for them, couldn't create any more opportunities in that last period of the game. But pleasing in many ways for him, but at the end of the day, he'll want to pick up more points than they have managed to in the last few games. From an Arsenal perspective, they're still on the track for the title.
And that is huge, because the last 2 games, you could argue, they scraped through against Birmingham, that Casey McCabe goal, 1-0 win, another win by just a goal this afternoon. It's been tough for Arsenal. We all know they've got a lot of resources, but you know, they've had a lot of injuries as well. So here is how the Women's Super League table looks after that, and it makes for happy reading. Arsenal have won their game in hand, and so they go 4 points clear of Manchester City. 2 games left of the season to go, so Arsenal can win the league next Sunday against Brighton. And don't forget, you can watch all the highlights from today's and yesterday's WSL fixtures and the Champions League tonight on the Women's Football Show, 11:30 on BBC One. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. So a win for Arsenal means they are just 1 victory away from claiming the WSL title. Thank you very much for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday.
So make sure you get your all that sell out once again. Man City.